Hello and welcome to this episode of the Be Free podcast. And today I have the lovely Shannon Andrews with me, who I'm very excited to speak to. So I had met Shannon through Instagram, I think, like mutual followers of various things. And then randomly bumped into Shannon in a village local to both of us. Do you remember that on the harbour?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hi, like seeing you in real life, not just on Instagram. And that was like super, super lovely. But for those who are listening who obviously don't know you, do you want to just say a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So I am Shannon Andrew. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, by the way. It's really nice to catch up with you and just to kind of, just connect, I guess, in what we're kind of doing. So I'm an online coach focusing on mindset, mental health, lifestyle, well-being, building good habits in your life, and more so recently moving into the physical health side of stuff for full mind, body and spirit alignment, because we love all that good stuff. So that's good. Just kind of working online with clients to just help build that healthy habits in their life, to better that relationship with themselves, and basically just kind of level up and come out their comfort zones and stuff like that. So it's all the good stuff.
Awesome. And I love how you're like constantly learning. I can totally relate to the constant learning, the education, the adding of all these different elements as they go along. I think it's really kind of exciting. And obviously you've added, as you said there, the kind of movement body element as well, which is
I think it's really important to just, especially as coaches as well, I think to constantly invest ourselves into that education and just learning more lessons and more knowledge that we can pass to others, and just kind of pass that along as we go. So it's I've never got my head out of a book, to be honest, which but it's all for a good purpose. So it's good.
And that's great, because you obviously have loads of wisdom to share on the pod today, which is really, really cool.
Let's hope so.
No, definitely. And I like I was saying, like earlier when I sent you questions and things, I was like, I absolutely love your vibe, and I love how you use your own healing, as this kind of catalyst for change and evolution. And I think there's so much value. Like, that is the space that I've come from, where like for decades I had struggled with my own mental health, and then kept reading books, and books beside me here, books underneath my desk, and exactly, like keep learning, keep growing, keep learning, keep growing. But what kind of got you to this point now of coaching others? Because I know obviously that isn't what you've always done.
So I only really kind of started my coaching journey 2 years ago. So it was kind of coming into lockdown. And as you said, in past and stuff, I had struggled with mental health. And I think for me, it kind of just came organically. Like, coaching wasn't ever something that I thought of doing, or that it was kind of at the forefront of my mind, really, or like working with clients. I have always been very business minded, from a business management background and entrepreneurial, and constantly trying to come up with new ideas and things like that. So when I did struggle with my mental health, and one of my friends was a coach at the time, and he was like, we were doing kind of like the Zoom calls as everyone was doing through lockdown and stuff. And, he'd said, you'd be really good at helping people, and just kind of trying to pass on the techniques or the tools that you've learned that have been effective in your healing, and in helping you kind of move out of a certain kind of space, or move past, past problems and stuff like that. So it just kind of grew organically, and then started off, like I say, with mental health, like mindset kind of stuff, and just learning and growing, and it just kind of picked up from there. And it's become something, I think, over lockdown, a lot of us had the time to really kind of consider what it is that our passion is, what it is that our purpose is. And I think it's important to find that, we kind of get caught up in the 9 to 5, the rat race kind of vibe. And it's not good for our souls. It's not good for our minds at all. It's not good for our health or well-being to be in something or spending time in our life doing something that we just don't enjoy, that we don't have that fuel or fire for. So it was very purpose and passionate driven from starting this coaching journey.
Yeah.
And just kind of trying to help other people find that for themselves as well. And yeah, now we're here.
Hey, love it. And you know, thank
yeah.
goodness you are for like all the people that you've helped and supported and things like that. So you mentioned like obviously like you'd had issues in the past with your mental health, and I know I'd interviewed you previously on Instagram about you know, during mental health week. So what kind of things affected you in the past?
So the biggest thing for me was honestly the relationship with myself. The relationship with myself in the sense that, you know, like low self-confidence, low self-worth, very, very big need for external validation for a long, long time, and always kind of looking out with myself to try and find that healing in a different place. And I think that's the one thing that I would say kind of comes through my coaching now, and the things that I try and deliver now, is the biggest thing mental health wise I did struggle with was that inner peace, that kind of self-talk, that, you know, that negative view of myself, or just not having that self-love, like just not doing that self-care, feeling really anxious quite a lot, and just really low, and went through a pretty difficult point in 2020 just before I started the coaching journey. Very depressed, very low, just not really having any interest in doing anything, you know. And that was the catalyst for me. That was kind of the first video I think that I posted on social media and said, you know, that was my rock bottom, this is where we need to go from now, and just kind of really tried to push through that the best that I could. And I know that a lot of people aren't as fortunate, you know, that they can't really get out of that space in that way, and that's what I'm kind of hoping as well to help people do that. So yeah, just the relationship with myself mainly, and that's really kind of progressed over the past 2 years. It's really, I feel finally, everyone has kind of through their healing journeys, and I guess moving out of that space, you have up and down days. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have days. I don't know if I can swear on this.
Yeah, you can swear. I swear all the time on the podcast. It's fine. It's all good.
But yeah, I think it's just so important to just introduce all of these things into your life, because it really does help, you know, the good habits, the rituals in the morning, the meditation, the affirmations. It's all things that really help you develop that good relationship with yourself. And as we know, if we have that good relationship with ourselves, we have better relationships with other people, and we pour up our own, you know, fill up our own cup. We're able to give that to others. And I think that's just the main thing for me, and just kind of where I've come from. So yeah.
Amazing. And I love what you brought up there about that external validation, because this was actually something, and I'm going to do a social media post about it, but I always have these things in the shower. All those things always get channeled to me.
Light bulb moments.
Yeah, totally. And I was just thinking about that external validation, and how when I was younger, I was constantly seeking this external validation, or for someone to save me. Yeah, I wanted to marry a footballer or a millionaire, or like I used to read the Sunday Times rich list and like whittle guys out. And I'm like, oh, whereas now I would be like, what are these people doing? How are they, like, you know, from the entrepreneurial side? But I think I always felt that like somebody was going to come and save me from myself and give me that approval and be that person, you know. And now I recognize that, you know, that ain't gonna happen. And even if you marry the rich man, they might not stay rich. So like you know, you've got to do it for yourself. Like you got
to just get rich yourself, and then you don't need. I think that's been a big thing for me, actually, just that you mentioned that about not money, but
about marrying rich men.
Just kind of like doing things for yourself, and not necessarily financially, or not relying on a partner. I don't mean that, but just having that, like, I think everyone has that strength within themselves, and I think it's so easy to look elsewhere. I think it's so easy to try and fill voids with, whether it's clothes or alcohol, drugs, or food, or whatever. Everyone kind of has their vices, I guess. And I think that's something that we always seem to turn to when we do feel those voids, and we do have that need for you know, that kind of completion, whatever it might be within ourselves. It's so easy to turn to those things. And I think the biggest thing that we all forget is that we all have whatever it is that we need, it's already inside of us.
Yeah.
Instead of looking for that externally, it's about looking introspectively and actually finding, you know, what that is for you and how to kind of harness that power. And that's something I've always said. It's like everyone has that power within you. You just need to know how to harness it. And it's one of my favorite quotes that I'll say probably for a long time still, because it's just so simple, and it does just represent everything that's about. But yeah, I think for me personally, my external validation was it was a very strong power, like a hold over me, like especially like when I was younger, just feeling like I needed that acceptance from people, or just feeling like I needed people to say, you know, that validation, and just say, you know, it's okay to be that way, or you need to be this way, and following the crowd for so long. And it just got to the point where it was exhausting. Like it was exhausting trying to fit into a certain mold, or trying to tone down the things that you were passionate about because other people weren't as accepting of them. I think one thing for me was my singing and my dancing and stuff. I've always had that creative side. And I remember in my younger days, especially, people being like, oh, you know, why are you doing that? Like, that's weird, you know, just like, and that sticks with you. It's a kind of belief that you then build within your mind about yourself. It becomes very limiting moving throughout your life. So things like that, I think it just got to a point and I was like, I'm letting go of those. Like, it just literally made a conscious decision and realized that power within myself, where it was like, that's it. Like, I'm living authentically, otherwise I'm being untrue to myself. I'm doing the things I'm passionate about. I'm going to be happy with who I am. And just building that inner peace and that self-love is a huge thing for going on that and moving away from the external validation. So
yes, incredible. And I think that's something that everybody finds once they start looking at this journey of healing, or, you know, growth, is that ultimately, you know, the goddess of self-healing, Louise Hay, like, ultimately you need to love yourself, and you need to do that. And as you mentioned there, that trying to fit in, and I see this a lot with anxiety clients, in that there's normally something that we're fighting, there's normally something that's out of alignment, and that is what is causing it. You know, it's a sign that things aren't in balance when you're, like, as you say, exhausted trying to live up to all these different things and be all these different versions of yourself, that when you can just be you, as terrifying as that might feel, it feels so right as well at the same time. And I love, like, when you do your singing on Instagram, or I noticed that you had shared your dancing recently as well. And I'm like, that it's incredible. Exactly. Just share you, and inspire other people to do the same. I like that, like what you said there about just, you know, you often see it with people that they have that kind of anxiety because they are out of alignment, and they are trying to kind of maybe live up to, whether they're aware of it. You know, I guess we do try and live up to so many different things, and when we're spinning all those plates, then we are going to feel out of alignment if it's not what we're kind of, you know, that's, you know, in alignment, I guess is the right word to use. And I find that a lot myself with, you know, it can be so terrifying to move into that true authenticity. But once you take that first step and you actually feel how good it feels to just not have been spinning all those plates anymore, and you can just concentrate on being the version of you that is in alignment, it's so peaceful, and it just flows. So yeah. Awesome. Cool. I can see you just totally shining there. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll get to see Shannon in her full lighting up the world. So a bit like the way I work, and I've got a book beside me which I'm going to show you in a minute, but you combine, you know, the mindset, the health, the lifestyle. You know, a lot of coaches will specialize in one thing, like mindset or health or whatever, and a bit like we're kind of similar in that way, that we kind of look at this whole version. But I just wondered, you know, why do you combine all of these things?
So for me, when I did start my coaching, I I did kind of feel this because I know a lot of coaches have a very specific kind of niche that they, you know, or skill or lane that they go down with their clients. I think for me, I kind of tried to just do the mindset, and I tried to just do, you know, the individual things as physical health elements or mental health elements or mindset, things like that. And I kind of dabbled in a few of them. And for me, there was always something that just felt out of alignment. There was always something that I felt it just doesn't flow, it doesn't work. And I think the reason for me doing all of these combined elements is because from my experience and my healing wouldn't have, or my experience of my journey so far wouldn't be at this point without all of those things. So then if I was to miss out any of those things, I would feel like, oh, but you know, it just wouldn't feel right, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. But for me, it's like whatever we put into our minds affects our bodies. Whatever we put into our bodies affects our minds. And so it seemed strange for me to kind of leave parts of that out when I was working with clients. And when I started kind of introducing more of the physical elements, the fitness, nutrition, just things like taking daily supplements or vitamins, or you know, having the right foods to release the right chemicals within your body, the results were amazing. And just to see like a full transformation, a full alignment of just how much it can affect our minds, what we put into our bodies, and just how much, you know, vice versa. And a big thing for me, I think, when the physical health side of things came into it and came into the picture was when probably last year, when I was really focused on the gym, and really focused on my fitness, and really just kind of not for aesthetic reasons, but more for the mind. It was, I would wake in the morning and I would do my usual routine that I always do for my meditation, affirmations, gratitudes. I do that every single morning. My little corner. And then the gym became, that workout became part of my standard daily practice. It was like, if I didn't do that, I felt out of alignment. And of course I'll have days where like I don't go to the gym. We all have days where we're just like, not today, not today. And you know, like this morning, for instance, like I didn't go to the gym, but I know that I'm going to go later. But sometimes I always do try and fit it in, because I think it's such an important part of keeping your mind healthy as well. You know, you go to the gym, whether you're angry, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're confused, like you go to the gym and it just seems, or I go to the gym personally, and it just seems to clear my head straight away. So yeah, it became a really integral part of delivering to my clients as well, and teaching that through coaching. So yeah, I guess that's why it's kind of all pulled together with the mindset, the health, the well-being, the habits. You know, it all seems like kind of lots of elements, but for me, it's all the little puzzle pieces that bring everything together. And I think without those specific parts, we maybe wouldn't have seen the same results with some clients. And or, you know, just within my own healing journey, I guess it's all been little puzzle pieces that just seems to fit together. The blueprint or the formula.
Yeah, totally. No, I 100%, 100% agree. And I think it's so necessary to treat ourselves as whole beings. And the book I've got beside me, because I know you've studied this before, is actually the Ayurveda Kitchen.
Yes.
Which you studied Ayurvedic studies. So you know, and that's that principles as well of like that whole mind, body, feeding the body, mind, body, soul, bringing the body back into balance. And yeah, I think it's so necessary that we do look at everything. And yeah, I say that all the time. You know, you could go to the gym, for example, all you want. I know so many people that are struggling with depression and going to the gym because they're living off a Monster and like not feeding themselves properly or nourishing their soul,
and not getting enough sleep and things like that. And it's and this is what it's kind of, you can deliver a gym plan to someone, or you can deliver, you know, a meditation plan or a daily routine to someone, but if they're not getting the right sleep, they're not eating right, they're not doing the other things, the other elements that are really kind of integral to that full mind body package, if you like to call it that, then, you know, you're always going to see some things that are going to slip or things like that. So
Cool. And so for our listeners then, have you got any kind of hints or tips or like anything that you would recommend to support kind of mindset and health?
So I'm just gonna go with the bog standard daily practice. For me, it's the biggest part. It's the most pivotal point of like what I tell clients and deliver to clients, and I practice myself. So for me, getting the right sleep,
Yeah.
7 to 8 hours of sleep. I know I'm grumpy if I don't get enough sleep. And it can throw off your whole mood for the day. It can throw off balance. So the right amount of sleep, healthy balanced diet, doesn't need to be greens all the time, protein,
Yeah.
drinking enough water is key for me. Meditation practice, it's not something that everyone does. Maybe some of you have tried it, maybe some of you haven't. I'm sure myself or Susie could help you with that if that's something that you guys wanted to kind of learn about or be interested in. Affirmations are a big one. Daily practice to reprogram your subconscious mind, because it's the part of our mind that just runs away with itself sometimes. And it can really affect how we think. It can affect our mindset, it can affect our behavior, and of course that's just a catalyst to everything else daily. So yeah, these daily practices for me are key, and that's probably the biggest bit of advice. Build a good routine for yourself each day. Find something that you enjoy that just gives you 5 or 10 minutes of that inner peace in the morning, because it can really change the trajectory of your day, and really kind of change the way that you see things, change your perspective, change your mindset, and just put you in a really positive one and make you feel grounded before you begin your day. So
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And obviously, like, I know you see like a variety of different clients, people, but is there something that you think that people are like clients are facing a lot just now, or something that comes up a lot that you see?
I would say the biggest thing is probably, for me, I think it's trying to kind of stay in that kind of positive mindset. I think there's a high expectation that we need to be positive all the time. And I think it's difficult to try and keep that as a realistic practice. Yeah, I would say it's actually sitting with the emotions is our biggest thing. Sitting with the emotions on the bad days, because it's not something we ever want to do. We want, a lot of us will maybe just, whether subconsciously or consciously, just avoid if we're having a bad day, or like I say, fill it with something else, or try and distract ourselves or keep busy. But I think it's really important to sit with that feeling, figure out what it's telling you. Like you mentioned something earlier about, people feeling anxiety, and it's often a symptom to show them that they're out of alignment. Sit with that emotion, figure out what it means for you, figure out why it is that you're feeling like that, because it can often be the key to, figuring out the way forward or getting out of that stagnant space. I think the last time that we spoke, I'd spoken to you about the fact that I just had so much like stagnant energy, and I was just in a place for like 3 months that I just wasn't doing anything. And it was because I wasn't sitting with that. And I think whatever we choose to like ignore, emotion wise, it's going to keep coming back until you sit with it, until you figure that out, until you figure out what it means for you. So yeah, that I think it's still a knock-on effect from what's happened with COVID and lockdown and stuff like that. I think a lot of people are still, maybe a lot of people are, not back in the office yet, or not back to kind of normal routine, whatever that might be. And it's had a huge knock-on effect, but I think it's brought a really positive kind of catalyst for change, in the sense that a lot more people are talking about meditation, a lot more people are talking about healing and looking after themselves, and actually, like I say, sitting with that and doing the inner healing and doing the inner work. So yeah, there's positives, I guess.
Amazing. Cool, thank you. And I think exactly this, try to be, happy all the time. So shit happens in people's lives. It's not sustainable, and it's not realistic.
No.
And I think it's important to honor the emotions so you don't get stuck in them, so you can then then process it moving forward. So I know we mentioned already that you love a book.
Yes.
What are some great books that you would recommend to people?
Okay, so I got all excited about this. I was excited books. What a geek.
Not at all.
Okay, so the first one that I'm going to say is this one, 100%. So we've got a few marks in this book, so ignore that. I'm going to turn this around. This one. So it's Manifest by Roxanne Susi, and pretty simple book. It's just a breakdown of 7 steps to living your best life. But it talks a lot about the elements that I bring for my coaching. So just the daily practices, the meditation, the affirmations, things like that. And I guess that's why I kind of relate with it so much. It's very simple for anyone that wants to kind of get into manifestation, really just start building that kind of daily spiritual practice and connecting to that source energy each day, to ground yourself. It's got lots and lots of good tips and little exercises and stuff like that. So I did find a quote, but I think I've lost the page, so give me a second.
No, yeah, whilst you're looking, we actually considered that book for our Be Free membership book club, and then we ended up going for Positively Wealthy, which was an incredible manifestation book. But yeah, I'll maybe suggest this because we know we absolutely loved like working through it together, and you know, the things that we manifested as a community during that month were so cool.
I love that.
So yeah, I'll maybe ring back to that book.
Yes. So yeah, this was a quote I'd marked. So fear and doubt often mask themselves as friends. They tell you they're protecting you from inevitable disappointment, when in reality, they are actively holding you back from unlocking the abundance of the universe. And I love it because it's everything that, like we've just spoken about there, you know, sitting with that fear, sitting with that doubt. It's often things that we close ourselves off to. It's often things that we move away from. And it's actually the key to unlocking the next step of your healing journey, or you know, reconnecting yourself, regrounding yourself. So yeah. That's a good little one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely up there. The other one I would have to kind of say is Jordan Peterson. I'm a big fan. And this one is a bit of it actually took me a little bit of a longer time to kind of really process and read, because there's a lot of big words. But from a psychologist point of view, it's the 12 rules of life to kind of keep you in the right headspace and make the right decisions and figure out who you are as a person and just have the right behaviors and things like that. So yeah, that's a really good one. And then the third one I'm going to jump in with too. Yeah. Is Vex King is another author that I would have to definitely share.
I'm currently reading Healing is the New High, actually.
This was actually one of the first, in fact, the first book I think I read when I started my own healing journey. And it was, yeah, it's just a lot of good little tips, good little quotes, little light bulb moments that I got from that. And then this is kind of going through just now. So yeah.
Awesome. I've made a note there because I'll put them all in the show notes so people can go and check them out as well. And yeah, I think Healing is like the New High and the Good Vibes, Good Life, when they're quite easy books to read, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Reading it quite quickly, and but yeah, super, super helpful and stuff.
Yeah, they are very easy reads, and I think it's just pretty simple tips for anyone, whether you're starting out on your healing journey, whether you're starting out or you're deep into healing. They're definitely good ones to go for. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. And then finally, obviously my business is all Be Free, my book, everything that I put out into the world. I want to kind of empower people to have that sensation of feeling free and not so trapped and stuck. What makes you feel free?
Ooh, what makes me feel free? When the biggest thing is either meditation or singing, I would have to say. That's when I'm in my kind of flow state. That's when I'm in my flow state. And I think that's when a lot of fear or doubt or insecurity that I still hold, that I'm still healing through, is just removed for me. It's when I feel most kind of centered. So yeah, meditation or singing is what I would say.
Awesome.
my little element.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's great to be in that space, isn't it? Just like,
yes. Or being on holiday, you know, that's also great. But
yeah, totally. You'll be looking for your next. I know you're just back, so you'll be looking for your next location if you haven't already.
Yes, I think I've got 2 places in mind. So yeah, hopefully book some flights and stuff this week.
Awesome, cool, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to connect with you, or do you want to share, I've got anything going out into the world just now, how can people reach out to you and get your support?
So my primary channel, or only channel really at the moment, is just my Instagram. Keep it nice and simple. So it's at Shannon Andrew Coaching. On there in the bio, you can find my Linktree link just at the bottom. And if you want to know more about coaching, if you want to know more about one-to-one or anything like that, please feel free to drop me a message and we can have a wee chat. In the next 3 to 6 months, you can expect the podcast to be back up and running, because that's been kind of put on the back burner for a wee bit while studies have been on the go.
Yeah.
So the Empower Your Mind podcast is coming back the end of September, which I'm very excited about. And we have some kind of exciting plans in the pipeline for doing some one-to-one workshops as well. So we're going to have some mindset workshops, maybe some fitness workshops, just kind of getting that back to being one-to-one in person, face-to-face, because I think a lot of my business has been done online. But I do really enjoy meeting people face-to-face, you know, so going to push for that. And yeah, apart from that, just kind of open my diary back up. So looking to take on one-to-one, just learning, growing, studying, helping, teaching. Yeah.
Cool, amazing. So I will pop Shannon's link at the bottom here and a little bit about Shannon, along with all her book recommendations and stuff as well. So go connect with her, check her out. And is there anything else you want to add before we jump off?
Just thank you very much for having me on the podcast. It's been lovely to catch up with you and lovely to just have a wee chat. And yeah, thanks for kind of sharing on socials and stuff like that. I really appreciate the exposure. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, thank you for sharing your wisdom. And I hope everyone listening is feeling more inspired to go and get those rituals, routines set up, to consider their life as a whole and not just kind of one area, and maybe goes and treats themselves to a new book.
Yes.
Cool. Well, lovely to speak to you, and I'll no doubt speak to you or see you soon. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.